This is perfect.
Oh, that is incredible.
I thought I wouldn't get the sun disk that quickly with that light. It was special. I'm going to walk down this way. If you want to come, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And if you want to find the readings we have, if you have a live connection,
I do.
so just Google daily readings. And if you want to add USCCB, it's fine, but it'll probably come up without it. And then you'll see where we're working with. So we've got a couple of groups staying here, and a particular group from Colorado, and then another group that's spread out a bit more. It's great to hear all the life, all the birds.
Oh, that's what I was struck by this morning when I came out. Okay.
This is going to be off screen, right?
Oh yeah, I don't mind if I'm on screen. That's
Okay,
fine.
you can say hello then.
Michael.
So did you get the reading? Did it come up for you? Yeah. Oh yeah, there you are. Yeah, and you just go to there. You have it right, exactly. No, this is a different one. What date is that? 14. So you need to press on to the next one. Just hit the arrow there. There you go. Yeah, because in Colorado right now it's still yesterday.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's the reason. What's all that color stuff on the screen? Oh, there are greetings from people. I see that now. From Tana. I saw all those things. It was kind of fading out on the screen further up. So some folks are here on this live stream, Michael, who joined back in the beginning 5 years ago. Not the beginning of creation, but the beginning of this sunrise stroll and chat. So I'll let you say hello to Michael here.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be a part of your live stream today.
Welcome, Michael. You're from Denver, right?
I'm from Denver.
Denver, Colorado. There's a lot of sunshine in Colorado, right?
Oh, there is. Yeah, it's similar to here.
You have 300 and something days of sunshine too.
300, that's what they say.
300, 320 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that a few times. Some good friends of Magdala from Denver. So people look at that, the sky's getting better, the light's getting better there. And let's turn on the readings for ourselves here. So basically there's some very interesting little notes about the readings we can say today. Things that we can put together, fascinating things really. Kind of reflections, if you will, but kind of coincidentally as well. Paul's mission starts out in Antioch of Syria, and now we're in Antioch of Pisidia, which is in modern day Turkey. And then he's with a guy called Sergius Paulus before he goes up there. And it turns out that Sergio Paulus, the governor of Cyprus where they were, his family is from that area. So there's been a very strong supposition that Paul actually got recommended by Sergius Paulus. You want to read an earlier spot in that chapter to capture the... I want to make sure I have the right way open here. Yeah, I don't, so I need to fix it now. Good, now I fixed that. So we're in chapter 13 of chapter 12 of the Acts of the Apostles. So that's when that chapter starts out with Paul leaving Antioch and going to Cyprus with Barnabas and John Mark. And then they do all of Cyprus, which is not too big. I was blessed to be there a couple of times and going to those spots of pilgrimage in the footsteps of Paul. And so then there's a very powerful incident with Paul in front of Sergius Paulus where Paul has to deal with a magician, and Sergius Paulus is very convinced. And there are a few different theories that come out in interpretation about this, but the governor, which is a pretty important role in the Roman Empire, obviously it's an island, so maybe there are other places that are bigger and more important. Somebody's asleep here, let's not wake them. It's interesting to see a tent that's so low.
It is.
This is the Mississippi, Mike.
Is it here?
Yeah, we're crossing the Mississippi now. In the wintertime, it has more water flowing. And there's probably something still flowing there now, even though it's very unnoticeable.
Does it flow differently at different times of the year?
Well, it doesn't ever flow uphill. It always flows downhill.
That's good to know.
Yeah. No, but there is more rain, obviously, in the wintertime. Right now, we didn't have rain for, 6 weeks probably. We won't have rain in November normally. Like any decent rain. There were a couple of drops, actually, the day before yesterday. I even took off my umbrella. And all the ground got wet, but it was a short-lived thing. And we did have a downpour, I think, in June last year, but that was unusual. So we can see how the human connection, like why did Paul go from Cyprus to Antioch and Pisidia? Like you just take out the map and look at it, and it seems to be a very reasonable supposition that he went there recommended by Sergius Paulus. And if the governor of Cyprus recommended him, that opened doors for him, and it was easier to have that connection. And then again, the human element, he'll go first of all to the synagogues to speak and present the gospel message. And there's another little human element. John Mark leaves them. And Paul remembers that afterwards with a certain bit of a bad taste in his mouth. So there's a human element there where sometimes human relationships don't work out. We're tested, our patience is tested, and we're limited. And even those great men who are saints, who were carrying the gospel into Europe, across Europe for the beginning, they're also marked by human weakness. And that's something to take into account. We don't have perfect people in the church, and we're dealing with all these different aspects. Everybody has a different strength, and then the question is how we deal with them and how we get over tensions and conflicts. Here we have another guy with his motorbike in his tent. It's also a very low tent. Sometimes tents are about twice as high that you can almost stand up inside them, right? And these are very compact tents, if you will. So it's just interesting to see that that we shouldn't be shocked and scared when we see people with a limitation. Maybe your pastor has some issue, temperamental issue or whatever, and we need to be able to bear the burden of each other. And the entire history of the church is marked by that, and in fact we could say the entire history of humanity. And then we have other aspects that are very interesting here, little reflections that we can see in the reading. So they go into on the Sabbath, they go into the synagogue. So it's interesting, you see that pattern of life that's a constant institutional practice. Sometimes people are against institutions, they want to do everything spontaneous. But there's a great value in the regular practice. And for us as Christians, that the development of Sunday, in our lives, a Sunday culture is so important. To gather as a community, to pray together, to read the scriptures. And again, if you notice the detail, they read the law, which is the Torah, which are the first 5 books of the Bible, and the prophets. And we know the Samaritans don't accept the prophets, that just deal with the 5 books of the first 5 books. And God's plan of redemption continues developing and unfolding. And there they're reading the law and the prophets. And then they have an exhortation, which is like a homily. And there we see the pattern that we continue to follow, that we didn't invent. Most of our life as Christians is received. It's received across the board, across the lines of history, and little by little we receive that heritage from generations before us. And there are a lot of things that also mark particular customs in particular countries and cultures, and that applies to us, each one of us in our own culture and our own practice, marked by historical events, marked by talent, marked by inspiration. and tested in time. I wonder what's stirring up the water, because there's no boat out there and we don't see the earth moving and shaking. There's no wind of any significance. And yet those waves are coming in. You know, we're in the deepest valley on earth. This is your first time here in the Holy Land?
First time in the Holy Land.
So I brought you to the deepest, the lowest point of your life so far. You can sink another 200 meters at the Dead Sea.
That'll be the next trip.
Mm-hmm. So then Paul, in that whole context now, has a lot of things in his favor for announcing the gospel, the story of Jesus. And eventually then the church will have the written accounts in the Gospels. By the time of Paul, they're not there yet. We're talking about maybe the year, I don't know, the mid-40s. Claudius is emperor at this time. And so we're at the beginning, the birth of the church, the Acts of the Apostles, seeing all that happen. And it's interesting when Paul finishes up his text, he says, well, he's talking about David, and the psalm is all about that as well. It's nice to connect the psalm today with the reading. I have found David my servant and anointed him. And you are my Father, my God, my rock, my Savior. The connectedness of David with God, a man after his own heart, after God's own heart. So Paul talks about all of that. But then at the end he says, I'm not worthy to unfasten the sandals of David's son, who was promised to come, an heir from his loins. And what the gospel text is Jesus, who actually washes the feet. When Jesus had washed the feet of the disciples. It opens there. The closing line of Paul and the opening line of the gospel have wonderful parallels. An invitation for us also to be ones who want to serve others, to choose the lower place, to choose the place of service and love. You want to say anything? What's it feel like to be here, Michael?
I am dumbstruck.
Dumbstruck.
Being in this space that Jesus walked, being in this place where all of the stories of the gospel come alive, and then all the stories of the Bible come alive. To hear the birds that Jesus heard.
They're descendants of the ones. They weren't the same ones.
They're not the same ones. It's a good thing. Yeah. So I woke up this morning and I just had a need to come out here and kind of be here myself, see it myself, almost like Thomas.
Yes, that's the whole point of pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So people will do a little selfie moment like we usually do at the end. May the Lord bless you, and see you later, alligators. All the best.